What's up, guys? We're going to do another exciting episode of the Alpha Energy podcast. This is going to be the Shaq and Kobe episode. Talk a little bit with my man here, Felipe Delgado. Talk about our origin story, how we did the setter-closer model, and what it was like in those early days out there on the doors. But first of all, Felipe, tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry and what those first couple of weeks looked like for you on the doors.
Well, I believe it was my sophomore, the summer of my sophomore year in college that I was working at Home Depot, and his name's Alan. It's actually Brian's brother. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm working at Home Depot." He's like, "I got a job where you can make like $1,000 in 2 hours, 3 hours." And I was like, "Yeah, that's not true. There's no way that me, a college student, can make $1,000 in like 3 hours." But he's like, "Just come out and try it." And when I came out, I had no idea it was knocking doors, you know. So I just went to the meeting at the office, and they're like, "Okay, cool. Here's a name tag. You're gonna shadow this guy. He's gonna meet you at an area." I was like, "Okay, what area? Like, what area? Like, what are we doing?" And we got to a neighborhood, and I was like, "So what are we supposed to do?" He's like, "Oh, we're just gonna knock on these doors and like promote solar." I was like, "You serious?" He's like, "Yeah." And when he said that, I was like, "Damn, bro. I don't think I'm built for this." And, you know, basically that day I didn't really do much. I just shadowed him. But then like 2 days later, I had to start like doing it myself. And I was doing it, and it was very, very unintentional. You know, I was a kid in college. I didn't really care. I was just doing it for fun and like to tell my mom I had a job because I had quit Home Depot. And my mom was like, "You got to be working." So I was like, "Yeah, I'm working at Alpha." I mean, not Alpha, it was Integrity at the time. And she's like, "What's that?" It's like, "Oh, it's a company we sell solar." She's like, "How do you do it?" And I wouldn't tell her that I was knocking doors. I'd be like, "Oh, you know, we just have like leads and stuff, and we just sell the product." But long story short, Integrity ended. Then Alpha Energy came, and I joined like in August of was it 2022? I believe, yeah, August 2022. And basically around like October, something like that, I had left. I quit. Because once again, I was a college student. I was not fully into what I was doing. So I was kind of in and out. And I went to go work at a sushi restaurant called Fire and Sticks. And then literally a month later, I got fired from that. Yeah, I got fired from Fire and Sticks because, I don't know, I guess the managers didn't like me. I'm not sure. Maybe I just sucked at the job. That was probably it, to be honest. And I hated it anyway, so I was kind of happy. But yeah, I was unemployed for like a good minute. And actually, Hector, he kept calling me. He's like, "Yo, come back to Alpha." I was like, "Nah." Then like maybe the third time you called me, I was at the sushi restaurant, and he's like, "Yo, come back." I was like, "You know what? Yeah, I'll do it." And you know, I got fired, so then I went and worked again at Alpha. But the main difference to say this time is that I just realized the mistakes I made in the past when I wasn't doing well and why I wasn't doing well, which is literally I just didn't take it seriously. I didn't put enough time. And I decided to do the opposite. So, you know, I would schedule out my day, be like, "Okay, I got class at this time, so I can go on doors from 4 p.m. to like 7 p.m. and then get home and do homework." And having that organized schedule helped me be more intentional and actually, you know, trained at what I was doing. So I actually got good at it, and I trained a lot with you too. And I'll just record you. I'll literally record your pitch, and you know, it was fun because, you know, we had pretty fun times out there. So it wasn't like a pain in the ass to get out on the doors because, I mean, when you're doing it with a friend and you guys are just laughing the whole time and just like talking shit and like, you know, yeah, just having fun, you know, it's not that bad. When you're alone, it sucks. So luckily I had Hector. I would knock him for a good minute. Eventually I started knocking alone, but by the time I started knocking alone, I had learned a lot from him. So I was actually good at what I was doing. And then like 6 months later, not like 4 or 5 months later, I started closing. I got promoted to that position, and yeah, now we're here.
All right, awesome. Let's rewind a little bit back to that like first day on the doors. I know we were both together. I remember that for that particular first day when we started knocking, I gave Felipe a little notebook, and I was like, "I want you to take a little tally, like literally old school, like write down like a line, and a dash for every conversation we have, and also for every door that we knock. And then also for how many appointments that we got." Now, of course, this was back a couple of years ago. So we didn't have like the same apps that we have now in order to be able to do that. So it's old school, pen and paper, and I had Felipe tallying everything that we were doing out there on the doors. I think on that first day, we actually had like 6 or 7.
Yeah, 7 appointments.
7 appointments on that first day. It was this hood in Kernersville, I remember, like this giant low-key hood. We actually got a same day on Felipe's first day as well. Of course, we did unfortunately run into a situation where we got porched. We're running a presentation on the porch. It was pitch black outside, and we actually got all the way up to the signing of docs, and then something happened. I can't remember what happened, but the deal imploded, and we were left on the porch in the dark. But that was the first day. Even though we didn't get necessarily a close that day, we definitely got a lot of like little wins with the amount of appointments that we set. We saw that it could be like something that would be easy for you to do. And I think it was a good starting point for you to see what the industry would be like. And then flash forward to what you said. I want to go into a little bit about those like struggles or the early beginnings of what we call like the Shaq and Kobe era. As you guys know, we really embraced that model of setter closer model, especially when you were still out there setting and I was closing the deals. Sometimes you just find somebody that you work really, really well with. And when you have that person on the doors, that one person, if you forget something that you're going to say in the presentation, or something's missing, you forget to ask about credit or whatever the case may be. We were in such a flow state, if you will, that if I forgot something, you would jump in, or if you forgot something, I would jump in. And then we're both like really good at like naturally just building rapport. So a lot of the times, we're not really firm believers in setting quote unquote appointments for like 6 days from now, 5 days from now. It's like today or tomorrow. And we would get a lot of like walk-ins. But tell us a little bit about what were some of those like early struggles during that time where you were still transitioning from setter to closer. Like what were some things that like you were going through as far as that goes?
Well, I'd say the usual for anyone who's been in sales, especially direct commission, is, when you're not seeing wins, mainly it's like your direct circle, so your family, your friends, well, mainly family, like your parents are like, you went out for like 3 hours, 4 hours yesterday and you didn't get paid at all. You haven't gotten paid like in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And, because at the time when you're setting, especially when you first start, it's like you got to build up that pipeline. And like just because you get a deal closed doesn't mean you're going to get paid, because some of them fall through, like some of them cancel. Some of them need like a extremely like expensive adder and the homeowner's not willing to do it. So like, stuff just happens where, there's a deal that I thought was gonna get installed that didn't. And then like, I would get emotional and get sad about it. But just the more it keeps happening, the more you get used to it. And at that time, that's when I realized I was not really holding on to my deals and like asking the closer, which is mainly Hector, where they're at. I barely ever asked him where my deals are at, honestly, when I was a setter. Like I never did that, I think. It was just like, okay, I got one. This might get installed, it might not. So I might get paid on it, I might not. But let's just go get another one. That way, I'm guaranteed to at least get paid something. But I mean, yeah, it's mainly just if you get in your head, that's mainly what kills you. So that's the reason I left that first. The reason I quit is because I wasn't getting paid, and all the chatter around me was like, hey, you're not getting paid, you're not getting paid. So I just took the easy way out and went to go work a surfing job where I was going to get paid, but I was trading my time for small amounts of money. Meanwhile, over here, it's kind of that, what's it called? It's like that long-term sacrifice, long-term gratification. There it is. Not you're doing long-term gratification. So at first you're not gonna get paid shit. You're not gonna get paid anything at all. But then maybe you'll like a month, 2 months, then you get like a $1,000 check. And for me, $1,000 check in my college days was dope. Then the next check, maybe $850, but then 2 weeks after that, you might get paid $2,000. And it started building up to where eventually, so those are the struggles, it's just like mainly, if you're able to keep focused and not let, the chatter around you, especially the negative chatter, get to your head, or people being like, yo, you knock doors, that's crazy. Like, what the hell are you doing? Just if you're actually able to, because you have to know why you're doing it, I realized that the people who are working at Home Depot, a lot of these guys are like 40 years old. They've been there for 20 years. 60 years old. They've been there for like 40 years. And, it's like they've been there their whole life and like there was no advancement. I'm like, I don't want to be working at Home Depot making like $32,000 when I'm 60 years old and still have to be working when I'm 60 years old, So I did see that there are certain individuals in solar that were able to make a really good amount of income, and they're like 25, 28 years old, they're making over six figures. So it's kind of seeing where people are at in your field that are, more advanced, further ahead than you, and being, what I like to be here or what I like to stay in this place where I'm at, where the chances of me getting advanced to a really good position are like extremely low. So that was the way I kind of got over it. And obviously seeing wins too, you can't be in a deficit forever. You obviously got to start getting wins. You can't just be bageling every week, or else like I'll just tell you just leave, bro.
Yeah, and that kind of reminds me of something that we say here commonly, which is at the very beginning when you're first starting out, you're going to feel like you're putting in a lot of work, but you're not really seeing like any results from the work that you're putting in at the very beginning. And then afterwards, you get to a point where you start seeing like a little bit of like money coming in, and you start to see like, okay, like this may work. But most people quit during that first phase or that second phase. But the third phase is actually when everything starts hitting all at once. So now that you've built up that pipeline, right, through all the hard work that you've done, when you get to that third phase, then everything starts hitting at once. You're going to be like, 1 month you get like 5 installs, and like that could be like a huge like paychecks in comparison to like what you were getting when, you weren't seeing the results. Like felt like you were working a lot, but you weren't necessarily seeing the money from it. But most people quit in those first 2 phases and then never get to the third phase, which is a fully built pipeline that allows them to get paid pretty consistently. And then once the pipeline is built, then you know that the money flow is pretty constant as far as that goes. But I feel like I resonate with what you just said. What I did want to go over too as well is, so when you were still setting and we were going out setter closer model, what are some of like the fond memories that you have of like customers that we had helped, or anything in particular that like sticks out into your head? I know we had a lot of good times out there.
Yeah.
We were getting fed a lot. Sometimes they would give us alcohol.
Yeah.
It was just like a really good time in that particular era. So what is like your favorite memory from that time?
Well, actually, we were talking about my first day out there when we got porched. Somehow, I think like the guy, he like understood something wrong and he freaked out and he went inside. Of course, I didn't know anything about solar, so I didn't really have any idea what was going on. But the guy literally went inside and just turned the lights off, and it was like it was pitch black outside. And I was looking at him, I'm like, yo, I guess we should leave. And like, I'm pretty sure you said like, no, let's wait out. He's gonna come back outside. And we're out there for like 15 minutes. I was like, nah, man, I feel like we shouldn't be doing this. We should like get going. He also doesn't want it. But I think the guy did come back out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said something about, he gave some like lame excuse about he's got other projects going on and whatnot or whatever. But yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think what I can remember is, there's definitely some of those like good experiences that we've had. Like, we talk about all the time when it feels like just like the most perfect like lay down where, we come into some of these deals. Like there was a deal that we did in Zebulon, with the Wiggins family. And, there was another deal that we did, I don't remember the area.
Leland?
In Leland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another. We have like fond memories of closers that we had been in with families that are really having, even to this day, 2, 3, 4 years later, are having really great experiences.
Yeah.
And that's always like a really, really good feeling. But let's talk about now, and the reason why we call ourselves Shaq and Kobe is because we can resonate with that. So just to give you guys, the ones that don't watch basketball or have never heard of the story of Shaq and Kobe, of course, Shaq and Kobe, probably one of the most dominant duos of all time in basketball. I would refer to myself as Shaq and Felipe as Kobe. The reason why, obviously I'm a little bigger, of course, but one of the main reasons why was because, when we were in our prime, it was like when the Lakers were doing that first three-peat dynasty, right before Kobe said, hey, I want to go ahead and do this on my own. I don't need Shaq to win. I can do it on my own. And that's kind of what happened with Felipe, right? After he got enough wins as a setter, then he became a closer, and he's like, I want to go get my own wins. And Shaq, you get your own wins, right? And so that's when we were both working as closers and, getting a lot of installs. So what advice would you give to someone who's like still trying to make that transition where they're trying to go from setter to closer? What advice would you give them?
Well, I'll say definitely like have like a mentor, somebody that like he can either go out there with you, or you can like go talk to him about stuff that you're going through. So like for me, that mainly was you. I would go out there a lot with you, and just talk to you and be like, so how would you overcome this certain rebuttal? And even when I started getting the feeling that I was starting to get started promoted to the closing position, I would sit with Hector in the deals, and I'll literally just record his whole pitch, which is like a 2-hour pitch on my phone. And I'll just listen to it. Like, I remember I was on a plane ride. I just put it in. I just listened to a 2-hour pitch. And one of them was hilarious because remember the Colombian people? Mm-hmm. It was like an 18 kilowatt. I had forgot to stop recording again. I went to the bathroom. And I fell asleep because I was on a plane to New York. And
they also gave us like 3 to 4 Coronas. So that's probably why you were peeing like a racehorse.
Yeah, they gave us like these mini Coronas. And they were like so cool. Unfortunately, it couldn't get installed, but they were really cool people. But like I was saying, I had forgot to turn off the recorder. And on the plane, I'm sleeping. I just had my earphones in, but like after a while, sometimes it just gets so boring that you just like zone out. And I was like sleeping. And then I wake up and it's like the sound of piss. And I was like, yo, what the hell is going on? And then like I just keep hearing piss, and I hear my own voice. I was like, ah. I took it out. I was like, oh shit, dude! I forgot to pause the recorder, and I was literally listening to myself piss. I was like, I don't know why, I just came to my head. But no, I mean, I recorded like 8 closes from you. I listened to them, like Spanish ones, English ones, and that helped a lot because I feel like if you just try to go into closing without having like some foundation and like what to say, when to say, then like you're kind of gonna be lost. So that really did help me get my foot in the door and kind of hit the ground running when I started closing, because my close was extremely, extremely similar to yours, like from word to word. Over time, you start adapting it and putting it more to your own style. But I'd say having that person to guide you, and if they're not there in person with you, like in your company, then there's people online. Like YouTube is literally like a dictionary of knowledge. Like there's people who are putting out their presentations on YouTube. There's people that you can like pay like $12 a month, and you have access to like the best people in the industry's presentations and stuff like that. So like if you want to eventually start closing, and then there's no excuse for you to like suck at it, really, because there's like so many people who are like giving their knowledge out for free that it's just such an abundant industry, really. But obviously, I would say just make sure you're doing the right things as well.
All right, awesome. Let's talk about something a little bit more fun. So I know you just said always look for like a mentor and look for somebody that can guide you into the right direction. When you were making that transition from setter to closer and you were looking more at the closing side, how to talk to customers, how to overcome objections and everything, give us like 2 or 3 names of people that you would recommend to go look at on YouTube, Instagram, or whatever that you liked their style or their way of communicating with customers, and then I'll give mine as well.
All right, cool. Well, the first one is like the most obvious one. Like everyone has watched his videos. That's in solar. Taylor McCarthy. He puts his presentation out there. I will say that I literally don't do his presentation. Like sometimes the thing I think I take the most from him is like his energy in the close, where he's like kind of like not attached to it. That's what.
Very confident too.
Yeah, you just gotta resemble that confidence. Like you're the expert, but he's very detached from it. I think that's the closest thing I do to him. But I don't really do his presentation. Everyone has their own style, but the guy I like a lot, Carlos Morales. He's on from Real Sales Dynamics. He's really good. He sells down in Florida. Florida's a pretty,
tough market.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's selling there. He kills it there. So there's something called Snapper Academy. The guy.
Chance Prawn.
Nah, Snapper Academy is the Will Ellerments. Mm-hmm. That guy with the hat.
Okay.
Yeah. He I'm not sure if he still does it. This was like a year ago, but he would have people that are doing well in solar come on and just give their best nuggets. And I listened to Carlos Morales. He went over how he presents, and your job in the solar industry to help homeowners go solar. And the way he does it is really good. So I take a lot from him. Like, he's always talking about leading the customer, establishing yourself as an expert, just and mainly having that conviction, which is the main thing. So I think I have the most from him, and the other guy's Ricardo Ritchie, which is like the biggest guy in the industry. My structure is basically just like his. So like I'd say, like, the energy and conviction I have is a lot from Carlos Morales, and the structure and how I break down my presentation is a lot from Ricardo Ritchie. Now, we did have the opportunity to go to Utah for DCon and see him talk about his close, and also on the Sniper Academy, he also broke down his close as well. So I'll say that if you're a closer, or if you're going to become a closer, if you suck at closing, you want to get better, then get on. Or even if you're good, but you want to do a whole lot better, than just get the Sniper Academy, and because over there there's a lot of plentiful knowledge. So definitely do that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what you said is true. I think there's no need to like reinvent the wheel when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, you never want to look at somebody who's, like we always talk about, not in the position that you're in, or not closing at an extremely high level. So when I give advice, what I used to do back in the day is look at, okay, who are the top guys in the door-to-door industry? Who's winning Golden Door, right? Who's getting these big awards for 120 plus installs? If they're getting Golden Door, they're doing freaking something right. Like, they can't be winning Golden Door like just out of like thin air. So I think ones that I used to look at in the past, Luke Ward, I think I used to look at his videos a lot, quite a bit. He has some videos out there on knocking doors and just like attitude. I think he has a really good attitude. Again, he's another one that's like really, really confident when he's pitching, and just having that conviction of like, I know this is a better product for you in your current situation. I think he has a really great energy when it comes to that. Also, for the girls out there that are watching, Melissa Ramiza is another one that's like really, really fire, especially on like the setting side. She has a lot of videos on the setting side, and she has really great mindset. I think she has a really great mindset. I've seen a lot of her videos where she's like, I'm out there knocking in the snow or whatever. I believe she's in Colorado. And things like that. So I think she's another great one to listen to, especially for the girls out there. And then, like I had mentioned a little bit earlier, Chance Prawn, I think, is another really, really good one. I believe he worked a little bit with Zane Jan and Better Earth and everything like that. One of the top closers there. I also like, he's very, very good at rapport building during his presentation, and I just like the way that he approaches it. Very like story-like, and very playful with the homeowners. I think being yourself and adding a little bit of humor on the doors goes a long way too, and I think he's really, really good at that. But I also really enjoy all of the people that you mentioned as well. But anyways, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment so far in the solar industry, and what is your biggest goal for the future?
Accomplishments. It's, well, I guess, getting to, being able to get promoted and eventually become like someone that was trusted by Brian to, take the majority of the leads. Because before, I remember I was getting the minority. The people who were getting fed the mainly leads were you, Angel, Romero, and Jenny. Especially the Spanish ones. I literally I couldn't speak Spanish in the way. You
still can't speak Spanish, but
I couldn't speak Spanish the way fluently to the homeowner when it came to solar. But then again, what I did is I went back to Hector's Spanish pitch, and I also just literally wrote down like how I would say, literally translate word for word my English close to my Spanish pitch, and be like, okay, so I'll say this word, this doesn't make sense, so let me realign this to Google Translate, ask somebody, ask my mom, does this make sense? Do you understand this? And then just I took maybe 2 to 4 weeks actually nodding down that Spanish pitch in the home until I finally got it really good. And one day, Jenny was busy, Angel was busy, and I don't think you were here. So Brian's like, damn, there's a Spanish appointment. And he was about to go. I was like, yo, I'll take it. He's like, no, you can't do it. I was like, yeah, I can. He was like, no, you can't. And I was like, bet. If I don't do it, I was like, then I won't ever ask for another Spanish lead again. And it was in Durham, so I drove to Durham. It was like an hour, and it ended up closing. Thank God, because if it
Did it get installed?
yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, first Spanish pitch got installed. So that was an awesome experience. It was like a 13 kilowatt too, so it was a really big system. And I still talk to him every now and then. Like sometimes he'll call me. Like the other day, he called about it was like, well, not the other day, like a year ago. He called about the tax credits, and then we started talking. And he's like literally right there in center of Durham. Like if you've ever go to center of Durham, you've probably seen his house, and he's like filled with solar. So I mean, it's pretty cool. And after that, just kept rolling in, doing more and more. And mainly it's just like, believing in yourself to actually do it. I would say I would want to think a lot, like, in the Shaq and Kobe days, somebody who helped us a lot was actually our competition. So like Jenny and Dilcia, they were closing a whole lot of deals.
We used to call them Carol G and Becky G.
Yeah. And I think for the majority of the time they were beating us. It was like more towards the end where we actually started like, beating them.
It was that healthy competition though. It was good.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Yeah, because, when there's like Dilcia, she was getting like 15 plus closes a month. So Hector was real obviously pushed. And then Jenny was like, she was a setter when I was a setter. And she was getting like 3 in like 2 days. She got 3 in 1 day.
Yeah.
So like,
Hattie, yeah.
She got a hat trick one day. And like, it was like, I'm not sure if it was like in February or something like that. I was like, I got to do it. It took me like a whole month to do it. I got a hat trick in March. And I like that one better than Jenny's though, because that 2 of them were self-gens. One of them was a setter lead. But
so biggest accomplishment, just to like sum it all up, is you being able to now go and take Spanish appointments and open up that whole new market for yourself, correct?
Well, yeah, just being someone who could like set the pace, stay on top of the leaderboard, because there's always people coming in. I can't tell you the amount of times people said, "Oh, I'm coming in and I'm only going for a top spot." Whoever's at the top spot, they better just go ahead and step down. I've heard it so many times. At first, I'd be like, "Damn, bro, this guy, he might be good." But then over time and time again, just kept falling out, and I realized that, like, like, I was like, I'm underestimating myself. Like, I've been on top for a long time, and I can keep doing it. But now it's not really about that. Like, I'd say I want somebody to kind of, beat me, because I feel like that's really gonna help me more, because I feel like mainly lately we've gotten a bit comfortable, and you're either growing or you're dying. So if you're getting comfortable, you're obviously dying. You're regressing, So, but talking about what I want to do is definitely be able to open up the virtual side. So I've actually had a few virtual sales as of recently. I think it's 4 virtual closes that actually got installed in like
different parts
in like different states. One was like at the edge of like North Carolina. That was like the only one that was here in this state, but the other one's like in New Mexico, Michigan. So it's pretty cool being able to do that. So I mean, I didn't have any experience doing it. I never really looked up how to virtual close. I just kind of like got on FaceTime, because Zoom wasn't working, and a lot of these homeowners don't really know how to work Zoom. So I just got on FaceTime and kind of just like made it really simple, and it ended up getting installed. So I think like if I actually like put a lot of effort into it, then it's definitely something that can be certainly attainable. So I think it's going to help out a lot, being able to do things virtually, because you have more time freedom and more location freedom. You don't have to be driving 3 hours to an appointment that might not show or might fail credit or might not close. If you're on the virtual, okay, this guy didn't sit, on to the next one. You can stack your calendar up so much more, and it's just way better for you as an actual, as a sales rep.
I think the biggest thing there is that we put a lot of like limiting beliefs. We're like, I don't know if it's going to be the same as closing in person, or, maybe I should just drive 4 hours and just sit with them just so I can, see them, touch them or whatever, and, have that like face-to-face experience. But I think all those things are just limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to push through and be able to make that something that is just normal, right? I think, people are used to already, doing things that way, doing things online or whatever the case may be. We just have to keep it super simple and make it, just as easy of doing it virtually as it is in person. But really quick, super quick, before we finish up here, I'm just going to go over my biggest accomplishment and my goals. So my biggest accomplishment is seeing you and Jenny and others that I've trained from going to a position where you were selling sushi or working at Home Depot to making six figures, pretty consistently. I think that's my biggest accomplishment, being able to pour into others and seeing them win. And I think my biggest goal would be to open up another office and just be completely running that office on my own. That's a major goal that I have for the next up and coming year. But other than that, we know the things that we have to do. We have to just go out there and execute. But really appreciate the convo that we just had. And we're going to go ahead and leave it like that. Until next time, guys, really appreciate y'all. Peace.